Hi, Andy XL back with another of my NFXL podcasts, and this is my second state of the franchise addresses, if you like. And this one's going to cover the New York Jets. Right, where do I start? Well, that is the question not only facing me when writing this, but also the Jets front office. The roster is a mess, with holes everywhere and no ray of hope shining through any of those holes. So, with data from SpotRack and Over the Cap, let's see what the Jets' needs are and how they may be able to at least get better in 2026, even if they have little or no chance of making the postseason next term. I think there's five teams in the AFC that have pretty much got no chance of making the postseason. The Raiders are one, the Jets are another. The Dolphins look like they're about to start a reset, basically, in a rebuild. The Titans have got a long way to go to get back into contention. And then, of course, there's the Browns. So it's a gloomy picture for all those five, and it certainly is for the Jets. Yeah, but you have to start somewhere, Jets fans. So let's look at, to quote from Apollo 13, the film, what do we have on the spacecraft that is good? Right, quarterback. So look on the bright side, the Jets have established that none of their current quarterbacks in Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, and Brady Cook are good enough. Taylor is also a free agent this offseason, so a change of quarterback must be on the cards. And they have picked two in the draft. So they would love to take a quarterback or even try and trade up to one with the Raiders, but I don't think the Raiders are going to have that in order to get the pick of this draft class. But if they take a quarterback at two after Mendoza, that's a massive reach because, Dante Moore's not in this draft. Trinidad Chambliss is now not in this draft. Ty Simpson, I don't see as a first round quarterback, and I don't see any others as first round quarterbacks that are left in this class. So it may be they have to go to free agency for a breach quarterback here. Running back. The Jets actually had the 17th ranked run offense this last season, partly down to Fields and Taylor running from the quarterback position, sometimes for their lives. Brees Hill was the running back, and he had his first 1,000-yard season in year four of his NFL career. And they'll also get Braylon Allen back from injury next season. However, Hall is going to be a sought-after free agent this off-season, so it has to be questioned whether he wants to come back to the Jets. So they may need to replace him or rely on Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis to carry the load from running back for the next season. According to Over the Cap, they have 66 points. Let's just double check that because that's probably been updated. Let's check what their cap space is. It's probably been updated. Yeah, 79.3 million. So that's what Over the Cap say they have to work with. So they could certainly afford to bring Hall back or find a free agent replacement. Persuading a vet to come to Gangrene may be a tough sell, but the likes of Javonte Williams, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, Kareem Hunt, Tyler Algier, Chris Rodriguez, Brian Robinson Jr., they might be the ones to look at rather than the higher profile ones like Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, or J.K. Dobbins. But Dobbins might do given his injury history. Options are out there, and of course they have a mid-round one, two second round, and a fourth round pick. They could also use on a running back, but they may need to make a change there because I somehow suspect Hall might want to go somewhere else. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson only played 7 games last season, but still led the Jets in receiving. AD Mitchell and John Mechie came in mid-season and did okay, but more like depth start guys than starters. So adding help at wide receiver for Wilson looks like a big need here for the Jets' 28th ranked pass offense. One via the draft and one via free agency would be nice, but as with running backs, free agents are unlikely to be keen to join the Jets unless they see it as an opportunity to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. Maybe wide receivers like Jalen Naylor, Romeo Doubs, Calvin Austin, Hollywood Brown, or Diami Brown could be the type to target unless they can persuade a bigger name to join them. But again, one of their first 5 picks in the draft may well need to be spent on a wide receiver. At tight end, Mason Taylor had a nice first season for the Jets. They also have Jeremy Ruckert, so with plenty of areas to address, they may stick with what they have at tight end for 2026. A low-level free agent addition for depth could make sense though, because really there's not an awful lot there. But I'm just saying there's greater needs. Offensive line. The Jets' ground attack was one of the better areas of their performance in 2025. Their quarterbacks did get sacked 60 times, but Justin Fields and Brady Cook, who were sacked 46 times, certainly contributed to their own literal downfall by holding onto the ball far too long. They have a number of first round picks on what is a decent enough O line. So this is another area where they may decide to stick with what they have, although both starting guards are free agents this off season. So they could, if they can bring one or both of them back, if they cannot bring one or both of them back, they'll need replacing. Defensive tackle. When the Jets traded Quinn and Williams away, they obviously felt Joe Briggs was ready to step into a starting role, and they're right to think so. He and Harrison Phillips have played well on the interior of the Jets D line since Williams left. Briggs is one they need to lock up longer term, as he is an exclusive rights free agent this season. And they did struggle against teams with strong running games last season, including all of the divisional rivals. So a run stuffer on the inside could be sought by the Jets, especially with Harrison Phillips about to enter the final year of his contract. Another option with a round two draft pick, maybe. On the edge, one of the reasons the Jets struggled against the pass last season was that they did not have much of a pass rush. They had just 26 sacks on the season, 8 of those coming from Will McDonald. Adding help for McDonald has to be on the wish list for the Jets this offseason. Another draft pick they need to use, but have they got enough to do so? Inside, they might, it could even be that they decide to trade back from pick 2 in the draft if they want to go quarterback. They might give that pick up to try and get more collateral draft capital to make these other moves. Inside linebacker. Jermaine Sherwood and Quincy Williams do a decent enough job for the Jets here, so this doesn't look like a position they will prioritise this offseason. At cornerback, they let Sauce Gardner go to the Colts. The Jets may do at cornerback for the rest of the season, but incredibly failed to record a single interception all season as they conceded more passing touchdowns than any other team in the NFL. They were not awful in terms of yardage conceded for allowing wide receivers to score on them. It was tight ends and running backs that accounted for 21 of the 36 receiving touchdowns they allowed last season. Brandon Stevens and Azariah Thomas may do okay for them, but are upgradable on, and nickel is an area they could definitely like to improve at. Safety, Malachi Moore and Andre Cisco were okay for them in 2025, but those running back and tight end touchdown numbers are concerning. So an upgrade here or inside linebacker may be needed to reduce that obvious weakness or decrease that obvious weakness. Cisco was a 1 year deal and got hurt mid-season. So will they bring him back? If not, they will need to add 2 safeties this off-season. Across their secondary, they have to get better and find a way to generate picks. So go get some ball hawks if you want to sort that out for next season. On special teams, 41-year-old Nick Folk was on a 1 year deal, but only missed 1 of 28 field goals and made all 22 extra points. So bring him back on another 1 year deal if you can. And Austin McNamara will be back on punter duties. So, as with my previous one on the Raiders, there's such a long list for the Jets to do here. And then, like I said, back to the question from the intro: what on the spaceship and on the spaceship is good? Answer: nothing really, apart from maybe the O line and the defensive tackle. What needs fixing? They need a quarterback. They probably need a running back if Hall leaves. They need wide receiver help for Garrett Wilson. They are barely adequate at tight end. They may need to replace both guards on the O line. They could add a defensive tackle via the draft. They need to add an edge rusher to partner Will McDonald. They may need an inside linebacker who could do well in pass coverage. Same at safety, possibly 2 of them. And they need to add a corner and a nickel back. So it's just a huge list of needs. And they has to be one of the favourites to be the worst team in the league next season. So they have plenty of needs if they to even become average. And even if they nail it, they have a chance. They might have a chance to challenge the Dolphins to get off the bottom of the AFC East because they look like they're about to basically rip the whole thing up and start again. But the Bills and Patriots are going to decide who wins the AFC East next season. The Dolphins and the Jets are simply not going to be a factor. So again, Pretty grim reading for the Jets fans, but that's how it is. And you've got a long road back, but you've got to start somewhere. And if they get some of these things done this off season, they have a chance to improve next. But that's it for the Jets. So next up are the Arizona Cardinals on my trawl through the 32 teams. So look for that one coming up next.